welcome the student athletes from Texas Southern University. Winners last night over Texas A&M Corpus Christi in Dayton, quick turnaround, and now here in Fort Worth preparing for their game in the round of 64. We have Brison Gresham and John Walker III joining us today. We'll take questions in the room and questions on Zoom, so if you are watching online, please virtually raise your hand and we will address those questions as well as those here in Fort Worth. And we'll start right here in the building. Front row to the right.
Hi guys, Zach Boyer from the Lawrence Journal World. John and Brison, I guess for each of you, how have you handled the last 24 hours? What's that been like? And now, how ready are you to face Kansas tomorrow?
Let's start with Brison.
The last 24 hours, it's been kind of tiring, really, like all the traveling. Just been trying to get some rest, really. And what was your second question, my bad? They're a very good team. It's gonna be competitive for sure. It should be a great game.
All right. John?
Yeah, the last 24 hours have been crazy, of course. Exciting, also just locking back in on Kansas, though. And definitely going to be a competitive matchup. We're excited for the challenge.
To the left.
Matt Tate from the Journal World in Lawrence. Brison, how much time have you guys had to watch film, scout, get ready for the matchup? Or do you just have to kind of go wing it and play ball and kind of rely on your principles that you've had all season?
We kind of landed here, I want to say, like a little bit over midnight. So I'll say like this morning really was like our first time really watching them. And what was your second question?
I'll follow up on that. What stood out? I mean, seeing it for the first time, and you don't have a lot of time to prep, right?
They're a very good ball team, I should say. They play fast. They're competitive. They compete at a high level. And I feel like we compete at a high level as well. So it should be a good game. Coach
Self called you one of the more athletic bigs they'll have seen all year. What do you see in their bigs, especially 33, McCormick?
He's a big guy, physical. I hope the refs let us play physical, so it's going to be a very good competitive game.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I love playing physical. Like I love seeing like physical bigs. Like I miss that style of play, really.
Who's been the most physical team you've seen this year? Obviously, a lot of great opponents. The win over Florida sticks out as one of the bigger victories for you guys.
That I've seen or that I played against?
That you played against, yeah.
I definitely have to say, it might sound crazy, but I'll say Elkhorn, the team that we played in the championship, they're a very little chippy team. Like size-wise, they're kind of small, but they're a very chippy team, and they play physical.
Okay. Front row again.
John, what's it like to be back here after last season and to now go through this a second time?
It's definitely a great feeling, honestly, just to be able to do something that most people struggle to get done once. To be able to do it twice in a row is an amazing feeling. Also a great opportunity also, so it's an amazing feeling.
Back row to the right.
Yeah, for both of you guys, I know you haven't talked about it much. You said you landed at midnight, you go straight to film. It's got to be kind of a whirlwind. But when you think about KU, is there one thing that you think y'all need to do to be successful tomorrow, like something you're really keying in on right now?
John?
Definitely play harder than them. That's absolutely non-negotiable. You got to play harder than the other team. So that's really what we focusing on. At the very least, we're going to have to play harder than them to get anything done.
Brison?
Anytime you playing like C's like 16-1, you always gotta be able to out rebound the team. So I'll say like our biggest like emphasis is trying to rebound the basketball.
Okay, back to the left.
For both of you guys, for people that haven't seen you guys play this year and maybe flip on the TV and just watch this one, what's your style? How do you want this game to be played? What if you could dictate it? And obviously Kansas is going to try to take you out of what you do, but if it goes your way, how does that look?
Brison, why don't you start us on that one?
I'll say smash mouth basketball. Like we want the game to be as physical as it can possibly be, actually.
John?
Yeah, most definitely. We try to play. We're gonna try to stay in our game plan. My bad, but yeah, smash mouth. Most definitely, just try to be as aggressive as possible with anybody.
Front row.
Guys, how would you describe the relationship between John and Coach Jones? And being able to coach your son is probably something a lot of fathers dream of. But how do you see their interactions, and how do you see them get along throughout the last couple of years?
John, you can start us on that.
Man, it's amazing to see just how they could just flip that switch to go from coach to son. Like, it's definitely a switch that's flipped. Like, when they're coaching, it's all about business. Like, you my player right now, and that's how they address each other. And I like seeing the respect that they got for each other because I know that's not easy to do.
Brison?
I kind of look up to Coach Jones because just last year I have a son, and like I kind of like try to like take some pieces that he do with John and like try to like keep it in my brain so when my son get older I'll reciprocate it.
Like what kinds of things?
Just like how he coaches his son sometimes, like he try like to stay away from like not coaching him as his son, like how he get on him sometimes, like he coach him just like a regular player.
Do you guys have a good story that maybe illustrates their relationship that you've seen?
A good story. That's a tough one. Let me see. Got me thinking, man.
Have y'all seen like every year they go to the tournament, like they take the same pose of the picture? Like that's crazy. The fact that they win that much to where they can have a tradition like that, like to take the same pose for the tournament every year. I'm jealous of that for sure.
Okay. Any other questions in the room? Okay, back on the left.
Obviously, we've talked to you guys about midnight and short turnaround and all that stuff. Are there advantages to just having played last night? You guys are young guys. I mean, does that not bother you? Are you happy you had that game to get kind of the rust off, and now you get to go again tomorrow?
Brison?
I don't think it's no advantages because like when the ball is tipped, the ball is tipped. I feel like so, gotta compete.
John?
Yeah, I don't really see too many advantages. Maybe just the fact that we just got out of a tough one, so our blood's already flowing. So I think our focus is already where it needs to be for the most part. Like just having a close game and being that close to going home, you got a certain level of, you know what I'm saying, respect for what you got going on. So that's probably the only good thing about playing this fast. Like we ain't really locked out. We just stayed locked in for the most part.
You guys had a 9-game road trip to begin this season, facing a lot of incredible opponents. How did that prepare you for this moment? You already know what some of the best teams in the country look like in person. Brison?
I feel like it made us gel together actually, and then especially like not winning a couple games, it's almost like you gotta gel together. If not, like you can't spread away like while losing. Like that's not what good teams do. So I feel like that's really like an advantage of our non-conference schedule, like playing 9 road games. And I've been on 3 different college teams, and like that was like the craziest thing I ever experienced, really.
John?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the part that I like about it most is us just getting so used to adversity. We know when adversity hits, it's just all right, let's buckle down, get through it, whatever. It just gets us prepared for any type of close games or anything because we know it's a dogfight throughout that pre-conference schedule. So when you slugging it out like that every night, it kind of become who you are.
Not seeing any questions on Zoom. Do we have anything else here in Fort Worth? On the front row again.
Yeah, Brison, just, last year with Houston and the run that you guys had there, what kind of lessons does that prepare you for this year?
Small things, like just like things that people don't really realize. I feel like as the fans watch like March Madness, they look for the oohs and ahs, but like a small thing will get you beat, a small thing will help you win the game.
Anything else for the student athletes? All right, if not, guys, welcome back to Fort Worth and good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
That was pretty smooth, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take them, absolutely. Last time I saw you guys, I'm a freelancer, so I did play-by-play for ESPN on the games you guys played La Tech.
Oh, yeah. That was a rough one for us. That was a long night.
Yeah, but you guys turned it around the very next day.
Oh, yeah.
welcome Texas Southern head coach Johnny Jones, fresh off a victory over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. After the opening statement, we'll take questions in the room, and then if there are any, we will also take questions through Zoom. So if you are watching there, be sure to raise your hand virtually if you have a question for Coach Jones. Coach, you can start us with an opening statement.
We're really excited to be here in Fort Worth. Had a hard-fought battle last night in Dayton against a very good Texas A&M Corpus Christi basketball team, and we're very fortunate our guys played well there in the second half to put us in position to have a chance to come battle a great tradition in Kansas basketball. Coach Bielseff and his program, and it's one we obviously certainly look forward to.
Questions for Coach Jones, starting on the left.
Coach Self told us the other day he almost jumped at the chance to tell us that he knows you, and you guys go back a little ways. I just wondered if you could kind of share your relationship, how you guys first got to know each other, and how far back you go.
I've just known him for a long time, really just through the coaching profession, and have always admired the job that he's done over the years, and just a very special individual. My wife actually loves him probably more than me, and probably have only met him a couple of times just because of the type of person he is. He was a head coach at Tulsa. I was doing the interim head coach one year at the University of Memphis, and I think Memphis was reaching out to him during our season, and he told them at the time that he wasn't interested in talking to him because they already had a coach in place right now, and didn't feel comfortable talking about it during the season, so they went back after him, and I think they rubbed him the wrong way, and he told them he wasn't interested now, and he won't be interested in the future if that's the way they conduct their business. And after my wife heard that, she became his biggest fan. So, but he's always been great, and we always watched his team, his programs, and it's crazy. And I'm not sure if he shared this with you. We actually talked in December because of the cancellations of some basketball games. We lost a game with, I think, Cincinnati. They had lost a game as well, and I think he called me. It may have been on a Thursday night, and I waited until the next morning, I think, to call him, and they had rescheduled the game, and that's what he was calling about to schedule. So I'm glad he found another opponent in December. I was happy for him, but we're really good friends, and certainly have admired him for a long time.
Have you coached against him then?
Yes, I've gone in when I was at the University of North Texas. I took our program in there, and we played them at their place, and in one of the I guess the guarantee games. And I think that's the only time we've had a chance to been a matchup against each other there.
Okay. Front row.
Johnny, Zach Boyer from the Lawrence Journal World. What's the last 24 hours been like for you going from Dayton now back here after the victory?
Yeah, I tell you, it's kind of been a whirlwind for us because we're starting off, you asked about 24 hours, but we were in our conference tournament on a Saturday, and we took off and got back home sometime on Sunday morning. We were able to watch selection show, find out who our opponent was going to be. Then got kind of wheels rolling in what we needed to do in getting into Dayton. And after we get into Dayton, obviously, short turnaround, playing the basketball game there. We were fortunate that they had airline waiting for us after the game, and it was a little bit different because if you win, you obviously go to the airport and you take off and you go to your next location. If you lose, you get to go back to the hotel and sleep, and you fly out the next day. And we're fortunate that we're able to get to the airport, and everything was on schedule. And I think we landed here because of the time change. We got in here about 12:30 last night. I think to the hotel maybe about 12:30, something to 1. The kids were able to find something to eat, put them in the bed, and get them up this morning and start to work on Kansas.
So given that you had the extra round, the extra wrinkle there, when did you really start to dig into KU tape and begin preparing for them?
Last night on the plane. We already had games, and so last night on the plane we were able to, coaches, pull up the schedules and had games already downloaded and start watching a little bit. And just went from a great high in winning a basketball game and then having to turn around and kind of get your night a little screwed up when you start watching Kansas and know that's your next opponent and in trying to prepare for them. So it's a lot of work you got to cram, but we're used to it, and that's what it's about. We play a lot of back-to-back almost games in our preseason because of the guarantee schedules that we play early on. And then our conference schedule is usually on a Saturday, Monday. So we're used to pretty quick turnarounds and prepping and getting ready for teams, and our guys have done a good job of adjusting to that.
So what has stood out to you then so far when you watch it on film? What pops out to you?
Just one of Bill Self's teams, which is motion and the way that they can get up the floor, the spacing that they utilize as guys playing off of each other. You have excellent shooters, and he's one of the best in the business in putting guys in the spots where they're going to excel. His shooters get to their spots. His drivers get to the lanes because of the screens and the angles that they're set. His rebound, and his post guys understand their positioning and posting, and they do a lot of high percentage things there on the offensive end of the floor. And but it's just, I think, just a traditional Bill Self type team. And he just take his guys and take his pieces and put them in the right spots.
On the left.
Given how often they're on national television throughout the year, had you seen them before the plane?
Oh yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of watching him several times. He's one of my teams that I have to tell you I enjoy watching his style of play and the way that they get after it. And been the head coach at University of North Texas for a long time, and the Big 12 watching a lot of their games, so I'm familiar with that. And been in the SEC, and I think I had a chance to watch a little bit of their challenge as well with Kentucky as well, and I think that was at Kansas. So yeah, I've followed them a little bit this year when I could.
We asked your guys a minute ago too. Obviously Kansas is going to try to take you out of what you do and vice versa. But if you are able to dictate this one, how does this game look from your perspective? What's the ideal Texas Southern style tomorrow night in this game if you're able to kind of assert yourselves that way?
Kansas missed a bunch of shots and don't go for the offensive rebound, something that they're great and excel at the end of the day. No, they're a terrific basketball team, and it's going to be a very difficult and obviously a tough game for us. We'll have to defend extremely hard, and if we can do a good job of maybe limiting their second chance opportunities, it will certainly help us at the end of the day, because I think they're a very good offensive rebounding basketball team. But we've got to just make sure on the other end that we're able to score as well, because they're a good defensive basketball team as well.
One more from the room, and then we'll go to Zoom before we come back.
Yeah, following up on that, kind of scouting them a little bit. Remy Martin's been injured a lot this season and just kind of back here recently. Does that change the way you can look at them? Do you look mostly at the more recent games that he has played in? How does he factor into how you prepare for them?
Well, good thing we're familiar with him. We've played practically everybody in the country, and we've played at Arizona State when he was actually their starting point and playing a lot of minutes. So we're very familiar with his game, his style of play, so that won't be anything new to us. But we certainly will have to prepare for him when he's in the game in the things that he do, or obviously what he likes to do offensively to be successful out there on the floor. We certainly have to be prepared.
Okay. Let's go to Daniel Rodriguez on Zoom. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, Coach. Daniel Rodriguez with This Week with Daniel. I wanted to ask you, since you've been at Texas Southern, you've been to the postseason in 3 out of 4 years, with that only 1 year being the COVID year. Just what does it mean to have this kind of consistency in bringing a winning culture to Texas Southern?
Well, we're very fortunate. The good thing is we've had some tradition there at Texas Southern. Mike Davis had done a tremendous job prior to my arrival and had taken the team to postseason play. Just been very fortunate on the heels of that to be able to put together a great nucleus of guys. And the chemistry's really been good on our basketball team and in our program. And guys have come into the program for the right reasons. We've Dylan in the transfer market. And when you do that, you have to be careful, I think, of the combination of guys that you put together because of their own agendas. And so we've been fortunate with that, and I certainly have to credit my staff for making sure that we screen and we do the right thing and bringing the right guys in that's the right fit or whatever for our team for the right reasons when it comes down to winning. And I'm excited that great things are happening for us there at Texas Southern University.
Okay, back in the room. Up front.
Johnny, what does it mean to you to have these last couple games with your son? And has the reality of that started to set in at all?
Yeah, yes, it has. You know, it's really not only him, how close I've become with these guys, probably a lot of it to do because of him, knowing the relationship and stuff that he has with him. It means a lot. You know, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I've been blessed and put in a position to do it now, and to have him around because he played 1 year when I was an assistant out for Eric Musman at Nevada for us, and when I got the job, he played 3 years for me. That's all he had left, and then the COVID year gave him an additional year, and that was special. I said, man, how God works. And so this has really been good for us and really for him, and something that I'll certainly cherish for the rest of my life. And I've been a Division I basketball coach since he was born, so I never got to do the AAU stuff or anything with him and his friends. It's always been kind of on the side, and working doing individual skill work now to have a chance to coach him, it's really been special and a lot of fun or whatever for me, and even more than I could have expected.
So given that, I mean, in what ways have you really seen him develop then over the past 4 years, being around him so often because you couldn't previously?
Well, his basketball stuff has been there because he was fortunate enough. His high school coach did a phenomenal job. He won 3 state high school championships, and he's got an unbelievable basketball IQ, extremely smart, and can really shoot the basketball, and that's where he thrives at for us in our program. But it's some of the things that away from the floor, say, for instance, that he'll bring up about games or opponents or teams, because I think he's got a knack for the sport and what's going on and what's happening, and he's got a good feel for the game and people. So he's really developed, I think, more so. His stuff on the floor has been good. If you're talking about skill sets defensively, I think he's obviously improved and gotten better because he's gotten bigger and stronger. But the main thing I like about him is he's kind of a coach in a sense that he understands what's going on and things that work. And a lot of times, he'll bring stuff to my attention, and he's point on.
And then I guess finally, when you look at your relationship with him, if you forget basketball, what do you take away from that, and how much do you think you've grown together as father and son these last 4 years, 5 years?
I just have to say, I think, as a father, you couldn't ask for more of a guy putting in and doing the little things that make the big difference, especially in the role that he plays as a son, because he's got other teammates that's watching him, and he's never really put me in a position that you have somewhat of a vulnerable state with his teammates, because he understood the role that he was playing. And to be able to do that, I think, has got to be extremely tough on a daily basis, understanding that I've got to walk a certain line in doing things, and he's been able to do that and has respected that, and that's been a great deal for me. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Coach Jones, appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time and your attention. Go Tigers. Thank you.